Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today we are going to study the k-means clustering. So what is k-means clustering? Basically it is a type of unsupervised learning which is used when you have unlabeled data. So there are three steps to calculate it. First step is select the number of groups. Second step is select the centers. So the number of centers must be equal to the k value. And the last step is calculate. So here's a procedure and the formula for calculation. We are going to use the formula of distance, which is x minus c. So x is a feature and c is the center point. We are taking mode to avoid any negative values. So each x values belong to the cluster for which it has the smaller distance value. Take mean of cluster and the mean with the new centroid. You have to continue step 2 and 3 until new centroids are not equal to the previous centroid. So it was the brief introduction. Let's quickly move to the coding part. I am using Jupyter Notebook. So as you can see, I read the file using pandas in the variable named x, and then I named the column of x, which is head. So as you can see, head is the name of the column. Then in the second step, in my case I selected the two groups. So k is equal to 2 and the center one is equal to 12 and center 2 is equal to 17. I have selected it randomly. You can select it from the given data of your own choice. Now here comes the main part, the calculation and the making of clusters based on the distance formula. As there would be new centroids, so I am naming them c1 underscore is equal to -1 and c2 underscore is equal to -1. So cluster 1 is equal to this, cluster 2 is equal to nothing. Again, the while loop will run as long as the new centroid is now is equal to the previous centroid. Okay. Then sum is equal to 0, as we have to calculate the sum for each cluster, so it should be 0 for each iteration of the while loop, and again clusters should be empty for each iteration of the while loop. For v in x data, so z is equal to v minus c1, and so let's call it y, and let's call it z is equal to v minus c2. If y is less than 0, make it positive by multiplying it with -1, and if z is negative, which is z is less than 0, z is equal to z multiplied by -1. Let's make clusters. If value of z is equal to y, then we will check which cluster has the least number of elements, and then we will move the value to that cluster. So if the length of both cluster are same, then it doesn't matter in which group it goes. So I am moving it in cluster 1. Cluster 1 is equal to cluster 1 plus v. I am moving value as a list because we can only create a list with another list, or else if the length of cluster 1 is less than cluster 2, again move it in cluster 1. And in the last case, which would be else, move it in cluster 2. It means cluster 2 is smaller than cluster 1. Okay, and else, in else case we'll check if y is less than z, then move it in cluster 1. Otherwise, if z is less than y, move it in cluster 2. Now we will calculate this sum for each cluster. For a in cluster 1, I'm going to print the value so you can see the result. N is equal to this, and sum is equal to sum plus k. Again, print \n for new line. After that, calculate the new centroid. First check if the length of cluster 1 is not equal to 0. It means that you can calculate the c1 underscore like new centroid is equal to sum underscore length of cluster 1. Okay, otherwise this new centroid will be 0. So repeat this same procedure for cluster 2. Copy it, sum is equal to 0, and now I am going to here paste it, and again I'm going to make cluster 2 c2 underscore c2 underscore c2 underscore. Okay, I am going to print the value of new centroid c1 and the value of previous centroid c2 and c2 underscore. Let's put the terminating condition. If c1 underscore is equal to c1 and c2 underscore is equal to c2, break the loop. Otherwise, else c1 will be updated with c1 underscore, c1 is equal to c1 underscore, c2 is equal to c2 underscore, and again c1 is equal to -1 c1 underscore, and c2 underscore is equal to -1. So that was the whole code. Let's run it from the beginning. Okay, unexpected error for k in cluster 2. Okay, okay, so as you can see, there are two clusters, cluster 1, cluster 2, previous centroid c1 c2, and the new centroids c1 underscore and c2 underscore. So the iterations will continue unless c1, the previous centroid, is not equal to c1 underscore the new centroid. As you can see, both of them are equal, so that the while loop terminated. So that was all. I hope you all liked this, and it was easy to understand. Thank you so much for watching. Allah Hafiz.